What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at again with another video. So we got to talk about what happened on this episode, Friday Night SmackDown. We finally streamed live. I know we hadn't the past couple weeks, but we wanted to check out, see what type of fallout was going to happen from this year's Royal Rumble. And for the most part, it was an okay show. Still not the biggest fan of the 3-hour format, but there was some enjoyable stuff to talk about and things to potentially look forward to leading into the Elimination Chamber. So first things first, we got to talk about Jay coming out there, to start off the show. He did the same thing on Monday, did the same thing here on SmackDown. Came out there, huge reaction, stadium, the arena they were in, everyone's eating, everyone's enjoying themselves. Even when he finally got in the ring and they cut off his theme music, crowd chanting one more time. So they turn up his music again one more time for the crowd to chant with him and do the yeet. And it's just a cool visual, bro. It reminds me of the Yes movement, how everyone in the stadium that Daniel Bryan went to, or arena that Daniel Bryan went to, everybody was doing the Yes movement. Everybody was doing the Yes chant. So it was really cool to see this. And Jay's having his moment. This is his time. And I love to see it. I know some of the people on the IWC may not agree, but you know who agree? Those people that are buying those tickets and buying this merch. They want to see him win and succeed. So it's dope. So, he got a whole bunch of "you deserve it" chants. And he basically was like, look, man, I had a talk with Gunther. And now, I'm here to see what Cody got to say. That's my dog. So, hey, Cody, come on out. Let's see, let's talk real quick. So Cody comes out there and, he does his usual, what you want to talk about. But this time he's like, I actually know what you want to talk about. And he basically was like, look, man, if I do decide to face you, after everything we've done, what I'm saying? I'm looking forward to it. I haven't decided yet, but I have that choice and that option. And I like how Cody was very endearing. Other than like Gunther wasn't, Cody was. He was endearing to him. He was happy that he won the Royal Rumble. He talked about how they were tag team champions at one point, and how they ended up getting lit at that infamous press conference afterwards, and their camaraderie. But he also knows, and he let it be known, like, look, man, I gotta not finish my story, but I gotta make sure I win at WrestleMania by any means necessary. Not by any means necessary. He didn't say that verbatim, but essentially he's saying, I need to win this year. I got to retain the championship. So, if you do decide to choose me, hey, man, this may be one of the last times we, actually have this, sincere handshake. So, Jay went to shake his hand, and you can kind of tell it's one of those things where Cody's like, yeah, we're friends, we're cool, but if you do choose me, I gotta win. I'm not gonna hold back. I'm gonna do what I have to do to retain this championship, to continue what I've been doing. So then Jacob music hit. Now, initially this was kind of a surprise because they really putting Jacob in this conversation of potentially, squaring up maybe with Cody, for the WWE Undisputed Championship. You would think that's kind of too soon, but the way things ended tonight, I think we kind of have an idea maybe of what Jacob's future is going to be heading into WrestleMania. So Jacob comes out there with Tama Tonga, and Jacob, he pretty much was telling Cody, hey, man, at WrestleMania, you won the WWE Undisputed Championship. But guess what? Our family needs that back. Our family needs that title back. And then he was talking to Jay. He's like, hey, Jay, I'm proud of you, cuz you did your thing. Like, I really am. But if you think you one of the people that's going to bring that championship back to our family, I'm sorry, man. It ain't going to be you. And it's not that Jacob said, I'm coming for that title, but it's more so he's interested. He maybe wants to be the person to bring the championship back to the bloodline, to the family. So after that, Jay was like, enough talking, and he went for a super kick, and then a brawl ensued, which led me to believe they were going to set up a tag team match at the end of the show which they did. And we'll get into how this kind of ties in a little bit to what Jacob was doing at the beginning of the show towards the end. Next, I want to talk about Drew McIntyre being drafted to SmackDown. Drew McIntyre was drafted to SmackDown, and he came out there and he's acting like he's a changed man. Raw was too toxic for him, but he's in a better place on SmackDown. He knows Nick Aldis. He's known him for a very long time, and he's in a great place. And now he wants to focus on Cody Rhodes and wants to take the title from Cody Rhodes. So at that point, Jimmy comes out there, and Jimmy's like, man, aren't you tired of whining and complaining? And, you know, he basically makes a case for himself because this was the qualifying match to see who was going to enter into the Elimination Chamber. And he made a claim for himself that it's his time. And I like this back and forth. Like, their promo work, their mic skills tonight in this particular segment was the best part of the show, in my opinion. Drew said a funny line. He's like, man, I didn't even recognize you, Jay. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to call you Jay. You know, even all these years, I still kind of get you guys confused. It was really a jab because, you know, people know the difference, obviously, between Jimmy and Jay. So, you know, they started having their back and forth. I love how Drew was sitting up here talking about, you know, it must sting having someone that you know, can do almost the same thing as, except he got over or essentially got big because of saying the word yeet. And I like Jimmy firing back. He's like, man, I could be saying yeet. I could be saying no yeet. I'm going to get to my moment, and my moment is getting into this Elimination Chamber and solidifying myself at WrestleMania. That's what I'm going to do. And you got to get through me, you know? And I like the back and forth. This was really good, very entertaining. Then LA Knight comes out there. LA Knight comes out there. He says, look, I have no, I'm not a big fan of you, Jimmy. You know, I ain't forget what you did in the Bloodline, costing me the world championship. So I really don't give a damn about you. And I definitely don't give a damn about you, Drew. And then this was a really interesting promo because he started talking to the camera directly. And he's like, look, I'm being serious here. Any of you guys, you boys, you guys out there growing up, if you're ever dealing with something, dealing with stress, dealing with life, things are getting hard, it's okay to cry. There's nothing wrong with you crying. It is okay. It doesn't make you less of a man. So that was a really nice thing to say to, you know, kind of help people that are going through things, that are hiding their emotions, you know, because they don't want to cry and let that out. But the way he spun it all around, which made it so damn good, in my opinion, he was like, but there is a line to it. And basically what he was doing was alluding to Drew always crying. He called him Drew McIntyre. That's all he does is cry and complain. And if you guys know what had happened, or what the rumors were, is that, you know, Drew felt some type of way about LA Knight trying to get his stuff in during the Royal Rumble match, which he felt like kind of messed up, you know, his whole elimination process, and, you know, it kind of messed things up. So the fact that the next thing LA Knight says, he's like, oh, and by the way, I wanted to make sure I get all my stuff in. And it cuts back to Drew smirking and laughing. I was like, that was good. That was good. They took a real life potential situation, an issue, and he played it out on screen. He's like, oh, by the way, I got to make sure I get all my stuff in. So I like that. This was good by all these guys. Go watch the segment. It was a great way to hype up for the triple threat match. And honestly, this is the best match of the show, in my personal opinion. I enjoyed this match a lot. Ultimately, Drew ended up winning. It looked like LA Knight was going to hit the BFT on Jimmy, but he had his back turned, and Drew went for the Claymore kick, kicked LA Knight right in the back of his head, and Drew ended up pinning LA Knight, and he advances into the Elimination Chamber. So I thought that was good. This was enjoyable. I really enjoyed the interaction, the promo, and the match itself. This was a good triple threat match. Very enjoyable. Definitely the best match of the night, in my opinion. Next, I'm going to talk about Charlotte and the reaction that she got. Charlotte comes out there and she actually had more of a positive reaction this time. She actually, there were people cheering more. There was still some people booing, and she played into it this time. On Monday, she kind of had to pivot, but tonight, she behaved more like this cocky heel and played into it. She's like, hey, how y'all feeling about me, Memphis, tonight? Are y'all going to cheer me or y'all going to boo me? Either way, doesn't matter. Y'all here to talk about me. She kind of was like, everybody wants to know what Charlotte Flair is going to do. I'm the most talked about individual, basically hyping herself up like I am the one. Y'all thought I was going to get injured and not come back and win the Royal Rumble. So she kind of, in my opinion, she's kind of playing up the heat that, she's kind of getting, or the backlash she's getting from the IWC. Like, oh, y'all thought I was going to get injured and not come back and win the Royal Rumble? Like, who else was going to win it? It wasn't going to be nobody else except me. And if the rumors are true, this had been penciled in there since October, November. So she basically was like, man, I'm here to see who, I went to see what Rhea had to say. I went to see what Julia had to say. Now I'm here to see what Tiffany has to say. Tiffany comes out there. Or if Tiffany can inspire me, Tiffany comes out there and she's putting on this fake accent or like this fake persona of like, oh man, Charlotte, I'm your biggest fan. I look up to you and all this other stuff. And when you got injured, it was really sad and awful for like one day and nobody cared. And then after that, I took over. And now we're making the most money we've ever made. We're on top. And pretty much Charlotte no-sold that. She didn't give a damn. Like, look, I don't give a damn what you talking about, little girl. Like, you know who I am. You know what's up. So essentially, it came down to, basically Charlotte, trying to play her as if, she's still not on her level, even though she's the champion. And basically, she even told her, look, if you want to face me to solidify yourself, because people were, comparing Tiffany to the next Charlotte. And Tiffany's like, look, hey, you can face me at WrestleMania. I can beat you. And that way we can no longer have this conversation of Tiffany, the next Charlotte. Tiffany will be the only Tiffany. Like, they'll be talking about me as the premier wrestling champion to look up to. Not, oh, she's the next Charlotte. She's the one and only Tiffany. And Charlotte proceeds to say, look, if you want to face me, you have to bow down to me. Get on your knees, beg me to face you, because you want me to make you a star. That's what it is. That's all you want. And before we can even get to what Tiffany would say, Nia comes out there and basically says she won't be in a qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber because she will have a one-on-one with Tiffany next week. And she's going to be getting the title back to face Charlotte. And Charlotte said, look, I'm going to be watching that match very closely. We know Nia's not winning. I don't really want to see this match. Don't care for this match. But it's happening. Nia's not winning. Most likely Tiffany's going to retain. And honestly, I think they're definitely building up Tiffany versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. So we will see how that plays out. Next, we got to talk about Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens, he's great. He's the best deranged individual you could possibly have on your WWE television. Kevin Owens is sitting in his car. It seemed like a nice car from the inside. Sitting in his car, and he's talking. He has this tone of disappointment, and he's emotional. He was like, man, I'm really disappointed in you, Sammy, because while Cody Rhodes was trying to end my career and essentially trying to, well, I don't even want to say what he really was trying to do. He was basically trying to say he was going to unalive him. And it's so funny that Kevin Owens is saying this because Kevin Owens was trying to do the same thing to him. But that's neither here nor there. He's like, while all that was happening, you didn't do anything. You didn't stop him. You didn't do anything. You watched. That's all you did. But in the Royal Rumble, when Roman Reigns was getting beat up, you're over here helping him. What is going on? You're a horrible friend. You are the worst possible friend. But that's okay. because you're going to pay. And I'm going to make you pay for what you did. And he's emotional, look like he's tearing up. And it was so good because, even he kind of has a point. Even though he's still delusional in what he feels like he's justified to, he still has a point because Sammy didn't stop Cody from putting this nigga through the fucking ladder with an Alabama slam. Had this man face down, destroyed. He didn't stop him, but he did help Roman get up in the Royal Rumble. So, once again, Kevin Owens has a point. It's just how he goes about it. This was very entertaining. I cannot wait to see them have their match at Elimination Chamber. I think that's the perfect place to do it. I know some people were thinking WrestleMania, but honestly, I think we go Kevin Owens and Randy Orton WrestleMania. I know people are thinking, oh, that could have been a good WrestleMania, but they had a WrestleMania match before. I think you tell this story in Toronto, give Sammy that much needed win, because Sammy needs a win right now. And I do think he gets that win and that assist from Randy. That's the best way to go about it. And we have this Randy Orton and Kevin Owens feud. So, at WrestleMania. And finally, we got to talk about what happened at the very end of the show. The match between, the tag team match between Jay and Cody versus Solo and Tama Tonga. It was an okay match. It was an okay TV match, but if you want to be honest, Cody wasn't getting pinned. Your Royal Rumble winner was not getting pinned. Jacob Fatu was not getting pinned. The only person that was going to take the pin here was Tama Tonga, unless there was going to be a disqualification. That's it. So if it wasn't on disqualification, you knew who was winning. So it was an okay match. Nothing to go home about. Ultimately, Cody ended up getting the win, pinning Tama Tonga. As he's celebrating, all of a sudden, another person in a black hoodie, and it is Solo Sikoa, comes up from behind, hits him with a Samoan spike. Cody's down on the ground, and Solo is back. What does this mean? Hopefully, we're not getting another Cody and Solo feud, which I don't think is initially going to happen. I think what we're going to start to see, it plays back into what happened at the beginning of the show. It seemed as if Jacob was kind of eyeing and maybe thinking he should be the one to bring the championship back to the bloodline, to the family. But Solo may have something to say about that. And also, Jacob may feel some type of way because you disappeared for weeks only to come back, and now you want to insert yourself in a match against Cody? What's going on here? Maybe Solo's going to try to reform the Bloodline 2.0. What's really happening? And I do think maybe there's going to be some type of situation that will happen because Jacob, Damian Priest, and Braun Strowman are supposed to be the next people to have their qualifying match to see who's going to be in the Elimination Chamber. I don't see it being Jacob yet. I think that's a good spot, but not time yet. I don't see it being Braun Strowman. I think it's going to be Damian Priest because I do think they're still going with the Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre feud. And I think that's going to play out even more at the Elimination Chamber. So that's another reason why I feel like there may be something that happened that distracts Jacob. And that may be Solo. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm just kind of spitballing here. But I do think the real feud that we're going to get out of this is going to most likely be Jacob and Solo. I think we're kind of all done with this Cody and Solo situation. I think this is just kind of a stepping stone to that. That's what I honestly think is going to happen. Jacob and Solo, I think that's the feud that they're going to start trying to build up. And the question is, how does that happen? We will see. But overall, it was okay. SmackDown, like I said, preferred to be 2 hours. It was an okay SmackDown. Also, before we get up out of here, I do got to talk about the recent individuals that got released from WWE while the show was happening. A lot of y'all were saying this on in the chat. There was a few people that were released from WWE. Paul Ellering was released. AOP, the Authors of Pain, was released. So that means, the whole group that they have with Karrion Kross, that's done. And honestly, if you've been paying attention, Karrion Kross has just been kind of planting his hate seeds all over WWE, but by himself or with Scarlett. You hadn't seen AOP by his side or Paul Ellering. So you can kind of see the writing was on the wall with just them involving Karrion Kross, and that's it. But ultimately, it was kind of weird because they didn't really do nothing with AOP or Paul Ellering, so they're both out of WWE. The next person that they were saying, Sonya Deville, had been released, so it does look like the Pure Fusion Collective. That's done. Since Sonya is out of here, and Blair Davenport has been released from WWE. Also, I believe there's one more person. I think Cedric Alexander was also released. Yeah. Cedric Alexander has announced that he is no longer with WWE. Unknown if it's a release or a contract expiration. So, but he's gone from WWE. So it was kind of weird getting all this news live while watching the show. Now the whole Blair Davenport situation, that one was kind of unfortunate. I think we've seen her a couple times on the main roster, and they did nothing with her. I think she was feuding with Naomi for a little bit, and they did nothing with her. That was months ago. So I don't know where the fuck she's been at. Been in catering for these past few months, and they let her go. So it's really unfortunate. Hopefully these individuals are able to make a name for themselves on the independent scene and keep doing what they love to do. So wanted to put that out there as well. But comment down below. Let me know some other wrestling related videos y'all want me to check out. And what was your favorite part of SmackDown tonight? Y'all let me know. But I appreciate all love and support. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See you on the next one. Peace.